Welcome to Uplink. Oh!
Gotcha.
All right, he got me that time. The only place on the internet where you can find all the latest video game news from across the industry, and boy do we have some news on our favorite subject. That's right, we're back again. We the Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, FTC boys. You fit that in a hashtag across the bottom?
It's our lower third.
Yeah, it's going to be
on a chyron.
A mouthful every time, but that's when we go out in public, it's how we have to introduce ourselves.
Not only that, I mean, go overseas, we're the CMA boys or whatever.
The CMA boys.
Yeah, the Country Music Awards.
Yeah, the only video game regulatory authority I value is the Country Music Awards.
The Country Music Awards.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah, so we have lots to talk about from that. 5 days
Garth
straight.
Brooks is a gamer.
Garth Brooks, if you're watching, can you answer the question, do you game? What's your KD?
Will you be playing Subnautica?
Yeah. How much Subnautica have you played, and will you continue to play Subnautica? What's your Minecraft planet seed? Mm-hmm. You know, can you tell us? Leave it in the comment section below Garth Brooks. Just Garth Brooks. No one else comment for Garth Brooks, all right? No fake accounts, we'll know. Mm-hmm. But we got lots to talk about. We're going to talk about all 5 days-ish of FTC versus Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard versus The World, which is the sequel to Scott Pilgrim versus the World that we never thought we'd ever get.
The sequel to Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Yeah, it's all connected. This is our interconnected web of cinematography and bad court dramas. We're going to talk a little bit about the Nintendo stuff that happened. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on, so we just want to make sure we cover our bases here. But mostly we're going to talk about the FTC stuff. So let's start off with the fun thing, the Nintendo Direct from a couple weeks ago.
I didn't watch it.
I mean,
I know what happened, but I didn't watch it.
It's good stuff. I got to say, after all the conferences that we saw before, we were like, wow, that was pretty good. I kind of didn't think Nintendo had the firepower to show up and be like, all right, we waited until everyone else was done, and now we'll do ours.
Right.
But they actually, for Nintendo fans, maybe not so much for people outside of the Nintendo ecosystem, but for Nintendo fans, there were some hits in there. I know I was excited by a lot of stuff. And also, if you're a Mario fan, we eating good this year. Super Mario RPG is back with a full remake. Are you kidding me? Not in a million years. Not in a million years did I think Nintendo would bring back Super Mario RPG. It's a cult classic, but I did not think it had, broad market appeal enough for it to matter.
I didn't even know this was a remake.
Oh man, it's.
I thought it was
Big Yoshi?
I know they said, yeah, what?
You know Big Yoshi? Big Yoshi.
Sure.
Yeah, that's where it's from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even, this one passed me by. I was like, oh, a remake of a game I didn't know actually existed. And people that actually watch the show are probably rolling their eyes. But
it sold fine, but it didn't sell exceptionally well at the time. But the thing, and I love this quote from, shoot, I can't remember his name now. I'll find it, and if I find it, I'll send it to you, Kim. But it was a tweet I saw shortly after. The thing that most people don't. Oh, it was Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb said this. The thing that most people don't understand is that Super Mario RPG is a Square Enix RPG, but Nintendo made them make it fun. Which is true, because while I love a lot of Square Enix RPGs, fun is not the first thing that comes to mind when I think of those games. Tedium and over-designed, maybe, but the Super Mario RPG is the most fun RPG I've ever played.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It prioritizes fun over anything else. And that's Nintendo's whole deal.
Looking at the headlines, we got a Pikmin?
Yeah, man. Well, we knew Pikmin 4 was coming. The surprise here, especially for, it gives me a little bit of hope about other titles in the Nintendo back catalog. But the real surprise was that Pikmin 1 and 2 got remastered releases on the Nintendo Switch that day. A lot of the times, the Nintendo back catalog of stuff will not get a lot of love, hence why we haven't had a Super Mario RPG remake since. We've had other RPG games on,
They've just gotten now into re-releasing their old games as they just kind of upscaled for the Switch.
Well, this is a full remake from the ground up. Which I will say I've noticed this is a trend more now. Before, I got people's complaints about remasters with just reskinning it and putting it out, slapping HD textures on everything and then putting that out and hoping for the best. But I will say that remakes take a lot more effort. They're from the ground up oftentimes. And to see so many remakes coming out kind of makes me feel like we're getting more actual modernized takes on games. And I'm all for, original IP stuff. I love when we get that. But I also love this idea that maybe like the movie industry, you can take a new lens to a game series.
Yeah, I think what is interesting, and I saw this as a tweet the other day, and I kind of agree with it. It was about movies. It was about remakes and remasters and redos and everything else, and why we're so obsessed with it. And I think people are like, or sequels rather, why people are so obsessed with it is because the suits know that it can make money, or should make money off of things that people are familiar with. What this person was suggesting, and I wish I knew their Twitter handle because I'm just going to rip them off right here, is why don't we just remake movies? And they started doing this in the early 2000s and then stopped because of the financial success of it all. Why don't we remake movies with good concepts that didn't execute that well?
Yeah.
And they're doing that.
I've seen that
Nintendo
tweet.
is doing that right here with Super Mario RPG. It's like the good concepts that you, like you said, you love, that didn't absolutely it may have executed it, but it didn't hit right the first time.
Yeah.
It didn't hit with a certain audience the first time.
I think that's where a lot of these companies could be we're going to talk about this merger stuff here in a minute, but I think that that's what makes Nintendo stand out and its uniqueness in the industry is they've always kind of looked at their own catalog before looking at buying someone else and gone, what haven't we done in a while? What was a thing that we tried that didn't work last time? Maybe we can make it work. Guys, no one was expecting 1-2 Switch to have a sequel. And it got a surprise sequel with a horse face mascot that I'm not okay with. And here we are. It's not a bad game, but it didn't, they didn't have to go seek out someone else's IPs to make their stuff work. I think that's part of the problem that both these guys have here is that they're constantly looking at other companies to make up for the windfall of stuff that they don't have.
Right. I think, again, if you're going to do a remake or a remaster, I mean, we would prefer a remake. Just do it with something that wasn't executed right.
Yeah. Go back down your catalog
go
and
back
find
and try
stuff.
it. We could do better.
Unrelated to video games. Disney, please do a better version of Black Cauldron. That movie is so good and needs love, and you abandoned it.
Yeah, that's half the stuff with Disney right now too. Is let's just go back to the well and make a live action version of this thing that everybody loved.
Yeah,
originally,
which
but
will never hold the
version.
same. Yeah. Little Mermaid was fine.
I don't want to rant on that. I have a podcast where we do that.
Link in the description.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
another Super Mario.
Got Super Mario Wonder, our first 2D Switch game in a while.
2D Switch Mario game.
Yeah, Switch Mario game.
Super Mario Maker was probably the last one.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's been.
Maker
we've had re-releases of other Mario games, but we haven't had a exclusive to the Switch Mario 2D platformer since ever.
No, and there was elements.
We had Odyssey.
I played it recently, Super Mario Odyssey.
There were 2D areas, but this is like a true 2D platformer Mario game, and looks kooky as hell. But again, this is what I think kind of makes this company of Nintendo be so powerful in the industry. Is because I didn't think that there was a way to really innovate on Mario. But then they put elephants in there, and now we got Elephant Mario, and there's Tony Hawk's skateboarding in there, you can grind on rails, dude, hell yeah, I'm in instantly. Also, there's
my mom never loved me.
Yeah, it's Long Mario.
Long Boy?
We got a Long Boy. We got a Long Boy Mario. He's up there. He's in the clouds. He's past you. It doesn't matter. It looks good, and I'm here for it.
I will be playing Detective Pikachu 2.
Hell yeah.
because it missed me the first time. I don't know how. I played Hey You Pikachu, the thing that didn't work.
Yeah, bad.
The microphone didn't work.
Never worked, not once. Anyone who says
Pikachu
it
would
does
just get
is
mad at you.
lying. Pikachu's always mad at you in Detective Pikachu too. He's pissed. That's not true, but it looks really good, and I love the one on the 3DS. I was kind of hoping that maybe they would do a package thing and they would re-release the original on the Switch, but remains to be seen if that's maybe going to be a surprise thing. I'll tell you what Pokemon thing told me absolutely nothing about what's going on with it, and that's the Pokemon DLC trailer for
Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet. I just finished Violet with my daughter, and her first time becoming a Pokemon champion. Was a great time, still glitchy as hell, but still overall a pretty good time. But I've been waiting on this DLC to come out so that she can have something new to do. And I was like, oh, finally, some details. No, it told me nothing. It showed me that there were some new, like old Pokemon returning, which neat, I guess. And the only piece of information we found out outside of that was not during the trailer. It was told to us after the fact, after the presentation was over, that these new legendary Pokemon, the Okidokis and Okidogi and Doki Doki and Doki Doki Literature Club.
And Bob.
And Tim. They have a ability called Poison Chain, which lets them poison anything that hits them. Cool. I don't play competitive Pokemon. That doesn't matter to me. Just get the one that does the best damage number, you know? I play like a child. I play Pokemon like I'm 5.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff. They, of course, did a Sonic, which I don't care about, but a lot of people, I assume, sure.
Also, there's a new game from the guys that did the Sonic Mania game, and it looks pretty good. It's like a 3D platformer kind of situation.
Just some other stuff that I'm seeing here. Batman Arkham Trilogy coming to the Nintendo Switch, which I assume if it was like anything else of things that were built on other gaming systems to then come to the Switch, it's going to be not good. But
hey, remember 2015 when Arkham Knight came out? It's been a minute, guys. You missed the boat. But hey, I'm glad you got Arkham Knight running at 60 frames per second at 480p. I'm impressed, you know? I'm impressed that they got
the amount of run they've gotten out of those games, though, too, especially like on like the PlayStation market, like free to release and things like that. Like I didn't play. I played, I believe, the second one, but I didn't play the first one until it was released for free, like over the pandemic. And so yeah, they've gotten run out of those games. But them being like, hey, remember a decade ago when these came out?
It's the history of being a Nintendo fan, is sitting in the dark waiting for someone to hand you the scraps of
I'm not playing it on the Nintendo Switch, though.
No.
It's going to sound like an aircraft carrier.
Aside from for your child, I can't imagine a market where this matters. Because like, if you're a kid who's never played the Arkham games and the only system you have at home is the Switch, yeah, maybe. But if you're an adult who's never played the Arkham games, first off, what are you doing? Play them, but not on the Switch. You go experience them somewhere that is going to be good for you, you know?
Speaking of stuff that hasn't really gotten an update and is still being, you know, they haven't made a new one and probably won't make a new one until the new system comes out. Mario Kart 8, a game that I actually play a lot because when we have friends over, I'm like, who wants to do a Mario Kart? But they're like, we'll release one new track and a couple of characters.
Hell yeah.
Make a new game?
It's 5, now to be fair, it's 5 new tracks.
It says adds a new course. Oh.
It's one brand new course and then a bunch of legacy courses are coming back, which is what all these DLCs. Altogether, I think there's 8 track packs. So this is 2.
I've never once,
cups.
I don't think, bought a track pack on Mario.
I have the adult, the adult. I have the adult version of Nintendo.
Right.
So that's how I know. No, I have the expansion pack for my Nintendo Online, so that Sierra can have Happy Home Paradise Land development kit for Animal Crossing.
Keep going, you got it.
Yeah, it's one of those names is in there. Happy Paradise Home Decorator Deluxe Edition. Yeah, so I have that, and the track packs came with that for free. But Kaya and I sit down and play Mario Kart all the time. and these little track.
Oh, I love Mario Kart. They just haven't. When's the last time this came out in like
2013.
Mario Kart 8?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It came out on the Wii U.
That's terrible, actually.
It came out on the Wii U.
A decade ago, you haven't put it out.
And it was the best-selling game on the Wii U, which is like not saying anything. And
look, I'm the sucker. I bought it on Nintendo Switch because I wanted to do a Mario Kart.
Well, people are like, I don't understand why they re-released Mario Kart for the Nintendo Switch. I'm like, you don't understand why they released the best-selling game. Think about this, okay? The Wii U sold 13 million units total. That's it. It was a colossal failure.
I didn't know anybody that had a Wii U, to be completely honest.
I knew one person, and he was the biggest Nintendo fan I know, and that's the only reason he bought it. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, total Wii U hardware is 13.5 million units. That's it. So I understand why they took this incredible Mario Kart game and put it out on the system that started selling so fast immediately. It makes sense. And now look at it.
We just praised Nintendo for like redoing some of their best things, but also, yikes.
For comparison, also, the Switch has sold 130 million
That's
units.
Unbelievable.
That's just so you understand the leap between the previous console and this one. 130 million units versus 13 million.
That's worldwide, right?
That's worldwide. That's lifetime sales for to date. Insane.
What a bomb. After the Wii was a huge hit.
Yeah,
too.
the Wii sold, I think, man, I don't have to look that up too. I think the Wii sold 250 million, something like that.
Because it was out forever. But like, yeah, I remember no one going to buy the Wii U.
Oh, actually, the Switch has actually outsold the Wii, which is crazy. 101 million units was the Wii.
I mean, everybody had a Wii.
Yeah,
it felt like.
Well, everyone's got a Switch now.
It feels like everybody has a Nintendo Switch that like
crazy
sits in
numbers.
the corner until friends.
But imagine that going 101 million units, 13 million, 125 million units. Like, to say that Nintendo was supported entirely by their handheld system for like 4 years is really understating the value that the 3DS brought to the Nintendo brand for a while. Anyway, tangent over on that, but that's insane.
I would just like a new Mario Kart. I mean, it's been the same one. Mario Kart forever.
We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute when we get into this FTC stuff, because we got some big revelations about upcoming.
I'd also like a new Super
stuff.
Smash Bros. But I mean, that's kind of the same concept forever.
We don't need to have a new Smash Bros. We just need more characters at this point.
Yeah,
and Sakurai has needed this break. I'm sure he's like, please don't ever talk to me about Smash Bros. Again.
Anyway, anything else from Nintendo? There was a lot of games on there that we just hadn't
I can't think of anything that was especially crazy aside from the Mario stuff.
WarioWare.
Oh yeah, a new WarioWare game. I didn't see that coming. That's pretty cool.
Some updates to Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, it was just sales figures mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
It wasn't anything else crazy. We didn't get like OG Pokemon games released on the Game Boy.
Persona 5 Tactica got a new gameplay trailer.
Yeah, which that's the third Persona 5 game. And I'm like, at what point do you just go to Persona 6? I guess we can talk about that rumor.
Okay, this is just a weird headline, and I just want you to, like, what a crazy time that we live in. From IGN, Splatoon 3's next Splatfest is all about ice cream. That sounds gross.
Yeah. If you're outside of the gaming,
that sentence doesn't mean anything.
That sentence is just a non-starter for your brain. You're just like, I'm sorry, the who's what does for ice cream?
Yeah. Those aren't real words. You didn't say.
You look me in the eyes and you say Splatfest to my face.
Splatfest.
What does that mean?
Ugh.
Could have for sure found a better name.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. A lot of cool
stuff.
So
many games on here.
Yeah, there was a lot announced, but it's
Hot Wheels 2. Anyway.
Oh yeah, Hot Wheels 2 was announced the week before, but we got some more gameplay about it. Mostly it was just a lot of confirming stuff that was coming to the Switch. But yeah, we should move on because we have so much to talk about here. So, June 22nd, will go down as the day that started the trials of Microsoft. They were in court against the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, for 5 days straight. That's all my feed was for 5 days straight, was this conversation. Now
You didn't have to do that to yourself, you know that.
I have to. It's for you guys. I do it for you, out of love for you, and that's why you should subscribe. And also, Bell County Comic-Con coming August 5th and 6th to the Bell County Expo Center. I'll be an MC once again this year alongside our Brady Taylor from KWTX and Lauren Westbrook, who will also be there doing interviews. We're going to be talking to a lot of cool people, just really making the most out of all the dope people that were invited, which I definitely remember all of them by heart. Hey, Thing will be there. He's got a hand in you remember Thing from Wednesday? He's going to be there. Just his hand, though.
The detached hand.
They've severed his hand and sent it there, and it's going to crawl up, and I'm going to be like, so what's it like? And
right. It's pretty good, actually.
It's going to be Morse code, and I'm going to have to figure that out. We'll have Ryan Potter, who's Beast Boy in DC's canceled Titans.
Look, a decent show, actually.
Pretty,
I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty okay show, but more importantly, he was Hero from Big Hero 6.
That is
which
something.
is a bigger deal to me, I feel like. A lot of voice actors on here, actually. Amy Allen, who played Ayla Secura from Star Wars. You may know her as the blue Twi'lek in the background with a blue lightsaber, who sometimes has 2 lightsabers. She actually recently just had a figure put out for Black Series, so I thought that was kind of interesting. We'll have Boba Fett, not big Boba Fett, little Boba Fett. Baby Boba Fett will be there. Not to be confused with Jango Fett, who's the taller Boba Fett, but isn't Boba Fett.
Right.
Are you guys following? All right, cool. So yeah, well, lots of people to talk to. August 5th and 6th.
Wait, the kid that is presumably now a man that played him.
Yes, the kid that played the little
Clone?
Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones will be there to talk about how he's not the big Boba Fett.
The one that picked up his dad's detached head, which was like, oh my God, a kids movie.
If you want to see something funny, come to this Comic-Con, please, because our good friend here, Alex Richardson, who you may know from multiple voice lines, and also any kind of AI attacks that have happened in your local neighborhoods.
Right.
He is 3D printing some stuff for us to give away. We have a Master Sword, but we're going to attempt to get a signed Jango Fett helmet, which would be very funny, because it's a helmet that has no head in it, and is the head of his father. And I can't wait to be like, hey, I found this on the ground in some stadium. Can you sign this for me? Some bug stadium.
Bug stadium.
It's gonna be a good time. Microsoft, FTC, big time, big boys in the big court. All right, we're talking.
Some would say the biggest.
I would say some of the biggest. Microsoft would claim to be the smallest person in the room. Which is hilarious to me.
Little,
They're like, we're the underdogs, PlayStation. Let's just start with some of the revelations.
About little old me.
So, for one, in our initial day of the day of reckoning, Microsoft really wanted to talk about Xbox exclusivity and the fact that the cloud gaming market is part of the overall gaming market, because the thing that destroyed the CMA's verdict on stuff, that destroyed their ability to pass that there.
Which they're still fighting, by the way. That isn't wrapped up.
They're still fighting. Whether or not that's going to lead anywhere, I think it heavily depends on whether or not this FTC thing
goes through.
Goes the way they want. But yeah, so the cloud gaming market was basically, the CMA was saying that Microsoft had a monopoly there in effective, range of products, because there was just not anyone else able to compete with that level of funding and stuff that they have, which is fair. Microsoft was like, no. Cloud gaming is part of the gaming market. It's not a separate thing, even though the high-end console gaming market is for sure a different market than cloud gaming, but that's neither here nor there. That's for the FTC to help decide, I guess. FTC was heavily against this. They talked about Xbox exclusives. They really wanted to get into the details of the surprise email that came out from Matt Booty. It's a funny name. I'm sorry. I'm 12. Who basically was saying that the overall plan here with these purchases. Now, this was before the Activision Blizzard merger had been officially put into place. Was to basically spend PlayStation out of business, like buy up competition and make it so impossible for PlayStation to get contracts and exclusives outside of their wheelhouse.
That's called a monopoly.
Claimed that was about a different strategy. Right?
Not this one that looks exactly the same.
No, you don't understand. No. That was for the other guys. I was talking about someone else. You wouldn't know them. You wouldn't know that merger that I'm talking about. It's a different one. Regardless of whether or not this was about this one, it's the same context. Seems like a pretty clear-cut, dry situation, but they did defend it pretty heavily. We did get a little bit of a picture of what's going on with Sony's viewpoint, with Jim Ryan talking about how initially they really didn't seem to think that there was a threat from Call of Duty going exclusive, and he says that sometime around August of last year,
they had a conversation
that changed his mind, and that's when he started pushing hard. And that lines up with the events of when he started pushing very hard against this.
What was the headline that I just read that Overwatch. He's like, oh, we'll give you Overwatch, but not Overwatch 2. You know, Overwatch, the thing that we're not supporting anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, they're like, oh, we provided them with a list of games that we would guarantee would come to multi-platform. And they were like, not everything's on here. And they're like, yeah, we know. And it's like, that's what we're talking about. But I think
look, this is also taking a mega corporation CEO, Jim Ryan, at his word, which we don't want to necessarily...
Which I don't want to take either of
like,
these
we don't want to
mega
necessarily hold water for PlayStation, which I think we do on this show a lot. But this is something that arguably we don't necessarily want to see happen on the show. If you watch this,
I'm still against it.
Yeah, you could probably deduct that. But I'm just like saying, it's going to seem like we're probably on the side of PlayStation because this whole thing is the federal government and PlayStation and basically testifying against multiple organizations, but against Microsoft. So it's multiple parties against one thing.
Yeah.
So
and I will say this: the judge was quick to call out the FTC for saying that because they use PlayStation's market being degraded as a result of this merger as an example of negative things that would impact gamers. And the FTC or the judge in this situation was like, hey, I thought the FTC was ruling that this was bad for gamers, not that this was bad for Sony's wallet,
right? Yeah.
Which is fair, but I do think that there were some really good points made. We've heard promises from everyone at Microsoft at this point that they wouldn't take Call of Duty exclusive, and that wouldn't make dollar sense to do that. But they were the FCC was quick to point out that you did do that with Bethesda. You made promises that you wouldn't do that with certain titles, and while we don't know that about every title, we know that Starfield was originally planned to release on both systems and is now an Xbox exclusive. We know that Redfall was originally planned to be on both systems, which thankfully only released on Xbox. We dodged that bullet. And then Microsoft was quick to point out that, there were things being produced by Bethesda that were released on PlayStation exclusivity. And I was like, now hold on, you forgot some context there, Mr. Microsoft. I got to tell you that Deathloop released on PlayStation, now on Xbox. Ghostwire Tokyo released on PlayStation, it's on Xbox now. So I got to say that that's not really a fair comparison. Also, those deals were pinned before that merger. They renegotiated a lot of stuff, which we found out a lot about the inner workings of both these companies, partly due to a Sharpie malfunction, which led to us finding out how much it costs to make a AAA title. Due to a lawyer using a Sharpie to redact stuff and it not clearly blocking out everything. So we found out it took about $250 million to produce Horizon Forbidden West.
I missed that. My God.
Insane. And around the same amount of money to produce The Last of Us Part 2.
I mean, we kind of knew these figures, that they were the cost of huge blockbuster movies.
But we didn't really know that about games, which I've always thought was weird that we don't get sales or we don't get budget figures for games
Because there's all
unless it breaks a certain threshold. Like Destiny 1 was the most expensive game ever made at the time. It was $500 million to produce that game.
That's so stupid.
Which is insane for what we got, right? I can't imagine how much Destiny 2, the disappointment that game was at launch. It's been trying to make that happen. Like I said, the engine at that point, so maybe it didn't cost as much. But yeah, expensive to make games. We also found out that Microsoft had lots of mergers planned, lots of acquisitions planned. We found out that they had targeted Sega. They had targeted Square Enix. They had gone through several other studios that they were just looking at on an individual level, weighing the pros and cons. And we don't know if any of those are still ongoing acquisition inquiries or not. I would imagine the Sega one's probably not. And the cited reason for those things were to expand the Game Pass catalog and an Xbox exclusive catalog. For instance, with Sega, they could take the Yakuza series, a traditionally Japanese series that has traditionally gone to the PlayStation series more so than the Xbox, and make that an Xbox exclusive, which would suck for people in Japan because Xbox is the last place console there. It's just a real weird situation to be in, to watch these two mega corporations discuss their powerhouses and then for Microsoft to be like, look, could we outspend Sony on a one-to-one basis and just spend them out of business? Of course we can. That's a thing they said in this. They just flat out admitted they could destroy their competitor. And then shortly after they were like, but we lost the console war. Which I'm like, that's the most gamer thing I've ever heard. At no point, look, I follow a lot of market analytic guys for gaming. I'll tell you this, none of them believe in the console war. It's not real. It's a made-up thing.
Why?
That gamers, because the numbers don't add up to that. Like most people have more than one console. You're not like the brand. There are brand loyal people out there that are like, I'm a Sony man all the way, and I'll fight you to the death. But and same on the Xbox.
That Grimace?
Side.
What was that?
Oh, sorry, you said his name, and I thought he might appear behind us. It's in that cup.
Oh. R.I.P.
Yeah, man. I don't have to do that bit. That's a lot of cleanup after.
No, I don't want to do that here.
Yeah, so there are people like that, but they're not. That is not the majority of gamers. Mm-hmm. Most people, like myself and you, have more than one console in our house, so we're not loyal to one thing. Do I play my PlayStation most? Yes. But does that mean that I'm all exclusively going to buy PlayStation products? No. So that doesn't really add up. I will say that if you're looking at it from the viewpoint that those people who support a flame war of the console wars, who have embattled themselves in that since the 90s,
well, I was going to say,
Xbox has lost.
Well, it feels like more of a thing. It feels like more of a thing when these things were being made, being invented.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a race to see who could establish dominance.
The Sega versus Nintendo thing was a real thing.
That was a real thing because there were only two major markets.
Right.
There was only one real market that was available for them at the time. And Sega lost their hardware side of things, which, slight tangent here, hilarious email that was discovered between Sega's CEO and its CFO from 1997, I want to say, basically being like, Nintendo is losing to us. They suck. In Japan, we are outselling Nintendo 6-1, 10-1 in some cases. It is not uncommon for our stocks to be plentiful and sold out within days, while Nintendo sits there gathering dust on it. So how do we make this happen in the US? I wish I could tell everyone that it's going to happen. It's inevitable. How do we show that at E3? And I'm just like, that guy is probably sitting there.
Here's the Power Glove. You're like, whoa.
He's like, man, I wish I hadn't said all that.
That sucks. Ooh, let me take that one back.
It's a big oof on that guy's part. Now, granted, he probably never thought that would see the light of day outside of his corporate conversations.
What are emails?
Yeah, he's man, rough one to get ousted on, you know.
30 years
Yeah.
later, like, oh shit! Like, imagine seeing that story. He's like 70 years old now.
He's
like, oh,
retired. He's
God.
hadn't thought about video games in 20 years. He's like, oh, come on.
Just sitting at home.
People are calling him up, and he's like, I know.
Look.
Miyamoto's calling and be like, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's funny. But yeah, so Sega went on to become a publisher, you know?
Yeah.
So there's still space for everyone in this industry now. Microsoft saying that they lost the console war felt more like, please feel sorry for me. I'm trying, we're just a startup company. We're trying our best. And I'm like, you shot yourself in the foot the last generation. And then you show up to this generation limping, and you're like, why doesn't anyone like me? And it's because you didn't spend the last generation building a library, a catalog of games that everyone loves. You spent the last generation purchasing studios to build you a library of catalog of games that everyone would love, and you still haven't put one out that I care about. Except for Hi-Fi Rush. Solid
wish
game.
half the testimony would have been like them going like, look, we screwed up the name.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish the testimony was mostly just the judge being like, all right, so this is the Xbox One.
Right.
Figure A is Xbox One. No, Your Honor, that is Xbox Series S. Okay. And this one is Xbox One? No, Your Honor, that is the Xbox 360e. This one's the Xbox One? I just go to like the line. That's the Xbox One S. I'll kill you.
What are you saying? What are we doing? This doesn't have anything to do with the actual testimony of stuff. What basically came out of it is that we don't have a verdict yet.
No, unless it happened while we're recording this.
Unbelievable. But
it's supposed to come today at some point.
But really, what this all amounts to is that you didn't call your thing the Xbox 720. You idiots. You idiots.
Or more than that, Xbox 2. We never even got a sequel to the original Xbox. We got the 360. You could have just gone Xbox 2.
We messed up in 2005.
Yeah, it's been broken since the beginning. Let's be real here. I mean, look, PlayStation's got it down pat. You know, PS5, PS6, PS7, it's easy. You know, we don't have to worry about that. Nintendo makes a fun name for each one of their things. That's fun. Xbox throwing numbers at the end of your thing is not working, and changing to just random letters also not working.
I don't know what this generation is.
It's the Series S and X.
Cool.
It's
Tricky.
the Xbox.
Yeah.
We need an Xbox Series E. Let's just finish it. The Sexbox.
That's a whole different thing, actually.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
It's a different market.
Yeah, different
we did
website
find out,
you have to go to for that.
We did find out some other little tidbits here. For instance, that the previously announced Machine Games Indiana Jones game, which was previously announced to come to every console, is now an Xbox exclusive because after Microsoft acquired, and this is telling, after Microsoft acquired Zynga Games, the parent company of Bethesda, they renegotiated the contract with Disney to make it an Xbox exclusive. Weird that they would do that. And now their defense, and I get this a little bit, I guess, is that they wanted something on the same line. They were like, oh, Spider-Man's exclusive to Sony. How's that fair? And I'm like, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. So
Sony is just bigger than PlayStation, and I think we kind of get lost there.
Well, so is Microsoft.
I know
That's
it
what
is.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but Microsoft doesn't own any intellectual property, and that was kind of the bugaboo to begin with.
Right. Well, they're pissed off that Sony's got all these great IPs. I'm like, but they're all original IPs. You're like, I don't. They're like, this is the market. This is something they repeated on the last couple of days over and over again. This is the market that Sony made. Which I hate to be the bearer of bad news for Microsoft. Sony didn't make the market need exclusives. Nintendo did. Nintendo is the forefather of exclusivity. Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Mario Kart, Pokemon. Like these things do not exist outside of the Nintendo brand. Metroid, Pikmin. This is just not on other platforms, you know? They don't do it. Straight up, Kirby, do not do it on other platforms. Super Smash Bros, nowhere else. Nintendo made that. That is their game. PlayStation played the game. Microsoft is now mad that they spent the last 20 years not properly playing the game. And they're like, but Sony. And I'm like, but Sony didn't do it. It's not Sony that started it.
Sony, the major corporation, did purchase Spider-Man.
Yeah, for super cheap. You should have done that, Microsoft. That's the realistic. That's what the judge should come out and say. Should have purchased Spider-Man, dumbass.
Yeah, but the X-Men have been sitting there for years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What are you doing?
Microsoft is just mad that they didn't think ahead enough to purchase some cheap Marvel comics back in the day before Disney bought it.
The friggin', what do you call it? The Hulk just went up for auction, or just relapsed for Warner Brothers not too long ago. Or Universal.
Universal.
Yeah, I just think, that was part of Jim Ryan's testimony was that is like you said earlier, they gave us a list, but the big ones weren't on there. Oops, and including the Indiana Jones game, which I'm actually excited about. I don't have an Xbox.
Guess I have to get
problem.
One. Yeah. And I get the other side of that. People are like, well, I want to play the Spider-Man game, and I have an Xbox. I'm like, yeah, but they made that game. Was an in-house game from a studio that they built from the ground up, pretty much. Insomniac was a third-party partner, is now an official first-party partner, but they've only ever made first-party games for Sony. They didn't do stuff for anyone else. So that makes sense.
Yeah, taking something that was this is our thing for the world, and
just kidding, just us.
Just us.
And now, look, they're swearing up and down they're not going to make Call of Duty exclusive, that is what they said. That is what the lawyers for Microsoft said. Your Honor, this is how capitalism works. Mergers happen, things change. That is the nature of capitalism. Businesses will go out of business as a result. That is just how it goes. And I'm like, yeah, but I think the point of the FTC there is that their job is to keep this from happening in a way that's unfair, and you spending an exorbitant amount of money to take a major component. They talked about the market share, right? Microsoft has the least market share out of the three major companies, and I get that. They used Diablo 4 as an example. Taking Diablo 4 exclusive would be like a 3 or 4% market share increase for the Xbox alone. Taking Call of Duty exclusive on any given year would be like a 12% market increase. That's a significant market increase. And on paper, that sounds, then that's fair that they get that, because it still wouldn't give them a majority and they still wouldn't have a monopoly. I think the more important conversation is it fair to the consumer to let Microsoft's big money decide to take something that was previously been accessible to everyone and make it exclusive somewhere else? Whether they're going to do that or not doesn't matter. It's the hypothetical of the situation that Microsoft could do that down the line.
So what would happen if they decide that this can't happen? Microsoft, if they can't close the proposed acquisition, according to The Verge in this article, it has to pay $3 billion in breakup fees to Activision Blizzard or renegotiate new terms, which then, do we start this all over again?
Or it has to start over again, I think.
What's the deal?
I think the new terms have to...
they would probably include set in stone exclusivity stuff.
Maybe, or it could possibly
this entire time.
It could possibly be more if they broke up Activision Blizzard and they just bought Activision and separated out Blizzard and sold Blizzard off, that would probably get this to pass through. Or vice versa. If they decided to look, for my money, I know that Call of Duty's the bigger title overall, but if I were Microsoft and I was trying to purchase something that was, this big, and they were saying, we're not going to let you do that because of Call of Duty, I go, okay. To prove that this is not about Call of Duty, I will separate out the Call of Duty IP license and the studios attached to it as a separate business and sell off Call of Duty. Or establish it, let it go as its own independent company, and we'll just be a publisher for them, They could do something like that, or they could break it up into three pieces. That's what most commonly happens with these monopoly kind of conversations is, okay, you have to break up this company. It needs to be more companies, and it needs to be controlled across a wider variety of the market. So you need to break it up and sell off at least this many of the company. This much of the company needs to go. You can keep whatever version of this you want, so long as it's sold in this many pieces. I could see them doing that as a proposal down the line. The CMA made a similar recommendation that they break off Call of Duty, break off Activision, break off Blizzard, or all three.
Wouldn't it be funny if all of a sudden people just stop playing Call of Duty?
It
won't ever happen.
I don't think that would happen. I do think that it would be incredibly stupid to take Call of Duty exclusive. It would hurt them financially, but I also think that Microsoft is the kind of company willing to eat a net negative for a year or two to then try to revamp it as the Call of Duty system the next year.
I'm going to tell you, what's going to happen if that was the case, and I think we've talked about this in previous shows. There's just gonna be another competitor. Look, we've also argued on here that there isn't quite as smooth as a first-person shooter or a multiplayer
It's hard
first-person
to replicate
shooter.
that success. It's lightning in a bottle is the
Right.
problem.
As now, Call of Duty has its own other problems, but it is fun to play most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's sort of now become synonymous with just first-person shooters, and that's how people know how to play first-person shooters.
Yeah.
It's just based on the Call of Duty model.
Right.
I firmly believe that, the people addicted to it then would go out and buy an Xbox and play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I firmly believe in a free marketplace, somebody would come up with something.
The problem is that no one has.
I guess.
And that's because of how big it is. And that was
But it's also not been exclusive.
No, that's true, but there also is, like, Battlefield is the closest competitor.
Right,
and it's nowhere near the same size, And I think we talked about this once before on the show where we talked about, if you just started a new football league and tried to compete against the NFL, that's a losing fight money-wise. You're just not going to outspend marketing and promotions from the NFL, and you're not going to be able to get teams to come play for you as easily, and you're not, it's going to be harder to negotiate that out. I think that we're actually going to get a real-time vision of what this would be like, because for the first time ever, as we reported earlier this year, the FIFA name will be dropped from the EA FIFA series starting in, allegedly, September.
I hadn't gotten any updates on any of that.
Possible leak on the internet today about the release date being in September. Right in the old FIFA slot makes sense. Probably is true, but we'll have to wait and see. But so this will be the first time that the FIFA license has not been attached to this. FIFA is the preeminent name when it comes to football in terms of what people, at least here especially, would recognize as the football league. So seeing Football Club, FC is what it's EA's FC, which is too many letters. Yeah, as it's known. Yeah. We'll see if that pans out. The sales stay consistent. I think it's going to be interesting to watch this kind of stuff play out, because while I don't disagree that there could be a competitor, whether or not that competitor could ever reach the same heights as Call of Duty on its own merits remains to be seen, because the market before was without anything like Call of Duty. Now we've had 1,000 things like Call of Duty, but none of them have risen to Call of Duty's level.
True.
We have seen, I would argue that I like the gunplay in Apex Legends more than I like the gunplay in Call of Duty sometimes. I don't play Apex Legends. I don't really play Call of Duty that much, but I do play some Call of Duty. I like Battlefield better when it comes to its gameplay mechanics. But Call of Duty gets me every year. There's something about it. It is lightning in a bottle, and it is unique, which is what the conversation became about at the end of the court hearing, was that, is Call of Duty a unicorn, a one-of-a-kind IP that cannot be replicated? And I have to say that I think on a fundamental gameplay level, yes, it is probably a unicorn in that there will never be another chance for a Call of Duty like experience to exceed Call of Duty. Just like I don't think that all these independent studios that want to make superhero movies are going to come out and knock Marvel off its pedestal. money-wise, it's just not going to happen, you know? Maybe someone might do it, but even like, people have been talking about BattleBit Simulator, which is this, you know, Minecraft-looking Battlefield game that plays more like the old school Battlefield games. They're like, this proves it. It knocks Battlefield out of here. Now it's gone, but that's not going to knock Battlefield out. It's on Steam only. It's a few thousand players playing it. It's popular right now with streamers, but it's not going to last forever. It can't compete marketing-wise with Battlefield. It will, the hype trailers, everything will knock it out eventually. That is the nature of these big companies versus these little companies. In order for, even if Sony invested heavily into multiplayer stuff, there's not a guarantee that Sony, who's not known for making multiplayer stuff, can compete with Call of Duty, who's known for being the best multiplayer shooter, you know?
I mean, and look, I wanted to wrap up my point by saying, like, I personally, like, and I'm older now, it doesn't, like, it's almost passed me by. It's not like I'm ancient, but it's like, it's almost passed me by to where I'm like, I just won't play Call of Duty, to be completely honest with you. And, like, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But there are a bunch of people that, like, that's all they play.
Yeah, and community-wise, this is going to be a nightmare. People have built friendships and clans and groups and all kinds of stuff between PlayStation and Xbox. You're just going to sever those communities?
Yeah, and I think you're right with, like, there won't be any sort of competition. It just kind of, we're just now, like, everything is the Facebook, Instagram story, which is what sucks.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, if for those of you who don't really remember, people were like, Mark Zuckerberg was really scared of Instagram.
Yeah.
Really scared of Instagram.
And he bought it.
And then he just was like, here's $1 billion.
Hey, remember when we were talking about that the big companies shouldn't be allowed to just buy their like in a free market, there should be competition. And if the counter to that competition is one competitor buying the best thing on the market from the other competitor, that's not fair market competition. That's bullshit. And that may be counter to what you understand as capitalism, but what I understand as capitalism is that it sucks here, and I want to go home.
It just when we've gotten to a point, it's like where we just reverse from like everything is a Vanderbilt now. So it's just like I just everybody. Well, I own a small business and I do like. Your small business may do well for you and your community.
It will not do well everywhere.
It doesn't amount to what these mega corporations can do. And I think we're seeing that in real time, and this is just sort of a microcosm of deals that we've already seen done. Now everybody's probably rolling their eyes watching this and being like, you don't understand how the economy works. But I'm just saying, like, yes, we've already seen this done, but we don't want to continue to see it.
Yeah.
Like Amazon just
We've
buying
not
another
seen
thing.
something this big in the gaming space.
Yeah, we don't want to continue to see it in a thing that we enjoy and love. And they've
already ruined movies with it. I don't want to
with
see
movies, you know, I was actually kind of excited when Disney bought Marvel, and then Marvel bought what allowed all the other superheroes to finally come in. Oh, Marvel bought Fox.
Yeah.
Or not
Disney
Marvel.
bought.
Disney bought Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, that allows all our superheroes to come. The underlying thing, the insidious part of that we don't see is that now, hey, Disney controls 50% of the movie market.
Yeah. It's a problem. And I don't
that's
want,
a problem. There's
that's
no
where we're
market
heading with this kind of thing that I'm worried about. And that merger went through during the Trump administration, and so that was less surprising to them. But they have promised to crack down on this kind of crap during this administration, and I want to see that followed through. I do think they're going to have a harder time because Disney was already a large competitor and was not being beaten out by a lot of other studios. Microsoft is in third place. I will give them credit for being right. They suck. And that's not our fault, you know? And it shouldn't come at the cost of resources to gamers or to consumers. that Microsoft decides to purchase one of the largest companies in the space. That just feels super unfair.
We're ranting, but is there anything else from the testimony that, like, I mean, Bobby Conner testified, but
We don't. So there were a couple of interesting little tidbits. The Microsoft lawyer mentioned Elder Scrolls 6, and Phil Spencer said that he doesn't know which Xbox consoles that game will even come out on because it's still at least 5 years away from being released. So if you were looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6 news anytime soon, there you go.
Playing Elder Scrolls Online, Bubba.
Don't play that. Sorry, don't.
I've never.
We also found out that possibly the PS6 and next Xbox console could launch within the next 4 to 5 years, and according to Microsoft, there will be a PS5 Slim by the end of this year, which lines up with other reports that we've heard. So, and that Nintendo's next console will likely be within the next couple of years. Microsoft really doesn't want Nintendo to be part of their market. For some reason, they were like,
they really drug Nintendo into this.
They were like, Nintendo's
battling
not
Sony
with us, and I'm like, Nintendo's outselling you, my guy. That's the only way you're in third place is if Nintendo's in the market, because Nintendo's outselling you.
They really did kind of drag Nintendo into
the whole time. They're like inferior consoles. I'm like, hey, why don't you not throw stones from your glass house, my guy? Like, You're not.
Like, does the Switch operate at anything close to what these other two are operating
Do I expect it to? No. Does it have some of the best games on the market? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that it makes you mad.
Interesting thing that Nintendo does. We're going to make great games for mediocre consoles.
It's just really funny to me that Nintendo is like the epitome of, play over looks. Like they care more about what the game plays like more than what it looks like.
It's like putting an 8-cylinder engine in a Mazda Miata.
Nintendo has always been the cartooner.
Chevy Impala has a Hemi. It's like, what?
they're the weird cartooners of the game industry. All right, we gotta wrap up. We won't know what the verdict is right now because either it's happening right now or we won't find out about it until tomorrow. Assuming I don't exceed my Twitter limit.
Yeah, as soon as we drop that.
As soon as I step off this set, it's gonna be like, here it is, and I'll have to put a retraction into all of our statements. We're gonna crawl at the bottom. Yeah. Anything you want to talk about as far as what you've been playing?
I have a review for EA F1 23, another game with a lot of numbers and letters. But EA F1 23, I gave it an 8.
Solid game.
Very good racing sim.
Go vroom, go fast. Be careful though.
You will crash a lot.
You crash hard.
Yeah.
Crash dead.
So that got me into F1 when really, it's a sport that I don't necessarily care about that much. Speaking of sports that I don't have I'm not the super most fond of, I have been playing a lot of the latest FIFA game because it was $15 on the PlayStation
and why
Store.
Not?
Yeah, and so
it's a good time.
I haven't done a FIFA in like a year and a half, so
we've done a FIFA in a minute.
It's fun.
You'll never do a FIFA ever again.
Actually, no. Yeah, so I was like, I might as well get the last one.
Yeah. The value on that might go up. Actually, I wonder if for resale value, I wonder if FIFA 23 being the last FIFA. You know how like NCAA 14 is
now
still like
$100
$50 to $100.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if the same. Maybe you save your hard drive.
If it was a better game,
maybe
it's fine.
I think that Football Club being basically the same thing is probably going to make that not be a value of any kind.
It's Soccer Sim 23. It's just like
insert soccer here.
Does it play really well and does it run smoothly? Absolutely. It's like the best soccer sim.
Is the real-time commentary always funny? Yeah.
Real-time, the commentary is literally the same.
Can't wait for the AI-generated content this year.
Every time. The comment. And look, the commentators probably had somewhere better to be, but
it's funny.
And he smashes it for power is the same thing he says every single time he scores a goal. But, that's what I'm playing. I do want to borrow Tears of the Kingdom from you.
No problem.
But because
it's a solid game.
I don't want to pay $70. But that's next up on the list. And what else do I need I don't know if I've been playing anything else.
I've been playing.
I've been doing a lot of EA. EA's just got my money right now.
Yeah, this is our professional EA player. I've been playing the crap out of Diablo 4, still a little bit of Battlefield 2042. I'll have our full Diablo 4 review up soon, I promise. And then Final Fantasy 16 has been my life for the last 2 weeks. I'm currently in the middle of uploading 18 hours worth of footage for us to sift through for my review. But I'll go ahead and give you a little sneak peek. It's good. It's a good game. It's a good game that maybe does a few things that I don't like, and a lot of things I do like. Combat is great, but traversal is bad.
Did I tell you on the show? I watched my wife play Bugsnax.
Yeah, Bugsnax.
Yeah, Bugsnax, which is a weird game.
Super weird game. Takes a hard twist.
Yeah, exactly. So I watched her play that, so I've been inundated with Bugsnax, but also it then recommended to me relaxing games or whatever, and I was streaming that game Lake.
Oh, yeah.
It's not good. But, like, it's on TikTok all the time. Mm-hmm. It's like, play this relaxing game. It's literally Mail Simulator.
Which, if you want to do that, just play Death Stranding.
Right.
Well, that's Amazon package delivery.
Right. No, this is.
I don't want to, admonish the package deliverers of the world.
What it basically amounts to is a Lifetime movie in game form.
Yeah.
And so, it was.
It's a niche audience. The
Lifetime. I played it for
series.
2 minutes, and I was like, I don't have to stream this. I'm lucky I didn't actually.
Honestly, surprised that we don't have a string of poorly conceived idea games that are from Lifetime. Like, there's not a Lifetime Studios that just produces video game versions of their movies.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
Girl from big city moves back to her hometown. That's the
you thought Layla was a washed up city girl, but now that she's moved back to her small hometown, maybe she'll discover the true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah, here's the sexy librarian that's also the gas station attendant and a fireman. And you're like, what?
I know I don't look like it, but I'm just like the boys.
Beer.
Hashtag girl boss.
I don't have anything else.
I mean, that's what I've been playing. We got lots of stuff coming in online. Again, head out to Bell County Comic Con. You get tickets in the description down below. Lots of cool people out there. We'll be out there.
I won't.
He won't be. I will be. When I say we, I mean more of an ethereal we. Multiple of us, but I will be separating into clones. Will be lots of cool stuff to do out there. So yeah, August 5th and 6th. Hope to see you guys there. And until next time, I'm Andrew. That's Royden. This is Uplink, and we out of here.
Bye.
See ya.